the faint creak of wooden floorboards. A candle flickers in the dark. In the background, a young girl hums an African lullaby, her voice trembling. The sound of boots outside. A heavy door swings open. Silence. Then the crack of a whip. Imagine. Waking up every morning knowing your life was not your own. That the food you ate, the clothes you wore, even the person you loved could be taken away without warning. For millions of enslaved Africans in America, this was not just a fear. It was daily reality. We like to think slavery was about hard work in the fields, but the truth is far darker. It was a complete system, engineered to control every part of life. Here are 15 shocking things that were completely normal for black slaves. Things so disturbing, you'll wonder why they aren't taught in schools. It wasn't just social practice. It was the law. In 1662, Virginia passed Partus Sequitur, Ventrum Latin for the child follows the mother. This meant if a woman was enslaved, her child would be enslaved too. For life, this wasn't accidental, it was strategic. Slave owners didn't just buy labor, they bought lineages. Every birth was profit. Virginia slave laws, 1662. Colonial records, this law didn't just legalize slavery, made it self-replicating. The system fed itself. A child could be born, take its first breath, and already have a price tag. If a system is built to last forever, how do you ever break free? Enslaved couples could jump the broom in their own ceremonies. But in the eyes of the law, their unions didn't exist. Owners saw marriages as inconvenient. If a couple's emotional bond got in the way of profit, they were simply separated. Former slave Louis Hughes recalled, "We could be parted and never see each other again. Love was no shield." Imagine loving someone with your whole heart, knowing you might wake up tomorrow and they'd be gone forever, sold to another state, another life. Slave auctions were public events. Men, women, and children were stripped, examined, and advertised like livestock. Newspapers printed Negroes for sale next to ads for horses and furniture. New Orleans Times, Picayune Archives. 1830s enslaved people were told to show their teeth, flex their muscles, and endure strangers poking and prodding them. Your value wasn't your humanity, it was your resale price. We often imagine whippings as punishment, but according to historian Edward Baptist, in the half has never been told. Slave owners used them as a business strategy. Some kept written records, tracking how many lashes produced the best work output. Pain was not just cruelty. It was calculated. What kind of mind turns human suffering into a profit formula? Under past laws, slaves couldn't travel without written permission from their owners. Caught without a pass? You could be whipped, jailed, or even lynched. Slave. Codes of the state of Georgia. 18 for 8. Freedom wasn't just about owning your body, it was about owning your movement. And they took even that away. We often picture Sunday as a day off for slaves to attend church. The truth? Many were forced to work through Sundays, especially during planting and harvest seasons. When allowed to attend services, owners often demanded preachers focus on Bible verses about obedience, like servants, obey your masters. Former slave John W. Fields recalled, "They let us sing, but the songs were chains in disguise." Planters hired overseers to patrol fields, but they also used fellow slaves as drivers to watch over others. Historian Walter Johnson in Soul by Soul described fear as the silent overseer always present, even when no one was watching. Imagine living in a world where every word you say could be overheard and sold to someone who owns you. Owners could rent their slaves to factories, docks, or other farms. The worker got nothing, the owner got paid. In some cases, families didn't even know where a loved one was sent, only that they'd be gone. For months or years. Even if a white person murdered an enslaved person. The enslaved could not testify in court. Their word held no legal weight. The law said they weren't people, they were property. Asterisk South Carolina Slave Code, 1740. Asterisk Justice wasn't blind, simply refused to see black lives at all. Asterisk From sexual abuse to mutilation, violence was so normalized it became part of the social order. Some owners would stage public punishments to send a message. To others, former slave Harriet Jacobs wrote in Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, "There is no shadow of law to protect a colored woman." Asterisk As soon as they could walk, enslaved children were put to work, carrying water, feeding animals, cleaning by age 10. Many were working full field days. Childhood as we know it didn't exist. Asterisk Slave codes in states like South Carolina and Georgia made it illegal to teach a slave to read or write. Why? Because literacy was power. Literate slave could forge passes, read abolitionist pamphlets, inspire revolt. Asterisk They knew education was liberation, so they outlawed it. Asterisk Some owners literally branded slaves with hot irons, marking them like cattle. Others cut ears or toes off runaways as punishment. These were not rare acts. They were legal under many slave codes. Asterisk Because slave children meant more property. Some owners forced enslaved men and women to have children, pairing them like livestock. Asterisk Wilma King. Stolen childhood. Asterisk This practice was openly discussed in plantation records, so often coldly referred to as stock improvement. Asterisk In the Deep South, life expectancy for a field slave could be as low as 21 to 22 years. Malnutrition, overwork, disease, and abuse made survival a constant struggle, even in death. Dignity was stolen. Many slaves were buried in unmarked graves. Asterisk Slavery wasn't just about forced labor. It was a total system designed to control, exploit, and erase an entire people's humanity. These 15 things weren't rare. They weren't exceptions. They were normal. And the most disturbing part? Many of these methods, mass incarceration, surveillance, economic exploitation, still echo in our world today. History doesn't just live in books. It lives in systems. The question is, will we finally see it for what it is?